handles as well as on YouTube and on WhatsApp. So if you are tuning in for the first time and you want to know how we go about the query segment, there you go. On the top of your screen, you have the WhatsApp number that is flashing. You can write into us with your queries, or else you can write into us on any of our social media platform. We are live on YouTube, Twitter, as well as on Facebook. You can tell us your name, the stock that you have a query on. Do tell us whether you are looking to buy afresh or you've already bought it. And if you bought it, do mention your buy price and the quantity that you have so that we can get you a holistic answer on that. But let's get going with the queries that we've already got. And the first one that I have is from Joy Sheila Prema, asking about Glenmark Pharma, which is purchased at 500 rupees per share. Wants to know whether it can go ahead and average at current levels. What's your take on this one, Kunal?
Well, so just to avoid, I think the stock has been in a consistent downtrend over the last 1 year. I think mid of 2021 or slightly prior to that is where the stock had actually broken below the 200-day moving average, and since then it's been just about getting into a slide. So no point averaging out into a stock which has gone through a consistent weakness. I would suggest an avoid.
All right. We've got a question from Jijo. He's writing in from Kerala. In fact, this is a question he had posted yesterday. This one's for you, Rajesh. This is on Snowman Logistics. Cold storage, not a very big talking point in the current scenario in terms of logistics, but a lot of people talked about the potential being there. I think if I remember correctly, when this vaccination drive started, there was a lot of buzz around this stock. What does it look like right now? He's sitting in losses. Should he hold on?
No point holding on to this stock. You said it right. During the COVID period, a lot of people talked about cold chain storages and all those things, and the stock showed some spike. But if you look since listing, it was trading at three figures at the point of listing, and after that it has constantly gone down. And I don't find any reason to believe that it's going to move anywhere on the northern side in a near term. It's no point sticking to the stock. It's better to switch to some other quality names.
Right, this one is coming from Mukil from Bangalore, and he's bought Noel, about 1,000 shares at a price of around 268 rupees per share. He wants to know what sort of a target can he look out for this particular counter in this month itself. Kunal, a tough one to answer, is it? But could you give a target for Noel for this month? Anything that you can see on the horizon, rather?
See, the stock is actually forming an inverted head and shoulder pattern, but this is spread across the last I think 8 months or 9 months. From the October levels of 268, the stock had actually fallen down to sub 200 levels, and now it's back towards 263 to 264. So it's on the verge of breakout of this inverted head and shoulder pattern. If that gets completed, then we can expect the stock to rally to at least 300, 320 levels as well. But I'm not sure whether the breakout would happen on this month or the following month. So I think time is the only constraint over here. I believe the stock breaks out about that 268 mark is where it should definitely look to hold on for targets of 300, 320.
Okay, a couple of questions coming in for you, Kunal. This is on the Bank Nifty as well as the Nifty. This is a follow-up one from Vivek, I believe. Vijay, who asked yesterday about the Nifty 50. Remember, we got the call wrong, the strike wrong. We thought it was 17,450, but actually he was talking about 16,450. He's taken a position. He's asking whether to exit. This is a June expiry. The other one is nearer. We're talking about 9th June expiry. This is a question coming in from Sunil. He's got Bank Nifty 35,500 call and a Nifty 16,660 call. What should he do with these?
See, I think both of those strategies could be a bit tricky, because tomorrow we are heading into a big event, which is the RBI policy. So it's very difficult to anticipate what would be the outcome of the event, and more importantly, what would be the reaction of the market. So I think majority of the poll indicates that market participants are expecting a rate hike to happen now. Whether the rate hike happens exactly on status quo on the exact levels of where the markets are expecting, or slightly higher or lower than that, I think that could probably determine the prospect of the markets over the near term. But I think it's best to try and play with the levels. Today morning I was indicating that how there's been a huge rise in the open interest on the Nifty, almost a 9% rise in the index open interest, which is very rare, which happens prior to an RBI policy event. So go with the flow. The markets right now are getting into a negative setup. 16,550 could be the point which you should be looking out for to try and average out your positions. If we break above those levels is where I believe you should look to average. Other than that, I think you can continue to hold on.
Okay, this one is from Natarajan Ramesh and this one is for you, Rajesh. He wants to know between Rupa and Dollar Industries, which one would be more profitable considering a long-term horizon of about 2 years. So Rupa or Dollar Industries, which of these two do you think that it makes sense for Natarajan look to invest in for at least the next 2 years?
See, it's a bit difficult choice because both of them have almost the similar categories. But if I have to choose any one of them, I would go with Dollar, of course, because one, they are into premium and popular segment, and they are expanding quite a lot. The management has gone on record saying that in the next 2 years, 2-3 years, they're going to expand a lot into different categories. They have taken a franchisee of Pepe Jeans in India. That's again going to add to their bottom line. Balance sheet is good. So I think if given a choice, I would go with Dollar Industries.
Okay, Rishabh is asking this question. This is on JCorp. He's got 500 shares at an average price of 142. Rajesh, any view on this one?
One can hold on to the stock. The stock has currently been limelight since quite last 2-3 months. But if you look at the numbers wouldn't be that exciting. But the balance sheet is very strong. The project's going, and the assets they have in the balance sheet is quite exciting, and it can give good returns in the long term. One can hold. Adding at this point of time, I won't suggest, but one existing position one can hold.
All right. This one is coming from Mr. B.R. Bhatia on Sequent Science. He's got some shares that purchased at 300 rupees per share, and he's purchased Paytm as well at a price of around 2,150 rupees per share. Now he wants to know whether he should continue to hold on to them or look to switch from both of these counters. Rajesh, Sequent Science and Paytm is the counter that he's holding. What should he do?
Sequent Scientific is into animal medicines and all. And I don't think the numbers justify the kind of valuation even after the kind of correction the stock has witnessed. So I would suggest a sell on rise kind of strategy in Sequent Scientific. And in Paytm, we have been very negative from since its listing day, and we still believe that it would be very difficult to show some numbers in the near future because one, onboarding of client is very difficult and retaining of that client is more difficult, and the numbers have been pretty bad in the recent future. I don't think anything positive is going to happen in coming days, so it's better to switch on.
Okay, this is a question coming from Ravi. He's writing in from Chennai, and he's got LIC Housing Finance. Okay, so he says that he's got a, let's pull up the stock and see where it's currently trading, because he says that he's got a 380 call. I'm assuming that this is the current expiry. What would you say at this juncture, Kunal?
Well, I would suggest to look to, I think, exit. I'm not sure what's the buy price, whether it's bought it today itself or over the last couple of days. But the stock has been actually facing a lot of resistance at this 200 moving average. So if you look at the patterns which have been more consistent on the downside for LIC Housing over the last 8-9 months, is that the stock tries to come back towards its 200 moving average, but the rally tends to fizzle out and the stock gets into a further correction mode. From those levels exactly. So you ideally have to wait out for the stock to break out on the upside and then look to buy the call option rather than preempting the move for such a kind of a pattern in terms of stocks. I would suggest an avoid or an exit given depending on what's your buy price for the options.
Okay, let me take this one from Sukanya. Sukanya, I had asked this query yesterday as well, but could not get an answer for this one. So let me take this one to you, Rajesh. 500 shares of Udaipur Cement purchased at 39 rupees per share. What should she do over the longer term, medium to long term? Do you track Udaipur Cement by any chance? And considering what is happening with the cement space, makes sense for Sukanya to stay put with this holding?
The cement space has been recently been a downturn because of high petcoke prices, fuel prices, and all those things, and concerns about expansion going on in the entire industry. But I think in the longer term, looking at the kind of excitement in the infrastructure space and the government focus in real estate, cement is going to do well. In the small cap, mid cap segment, Udaipur can be a good choice. One can continue to hold.
This next one's for you, Kunal. Apar Industries is the name of the counter. And I'm looking at just the last 1 month or so, you've seen quite a good pop in this particular stock. We've got Akash, who's been waiting for a while for this question. Thanks so much for your patience, Akash. He's bought at levels of 772 and he's got 16 shares. He's wondering whether to exit at this point.
So I think my sense is I think he's just bought it very recently because the stock is at 780 and it's just that over the last couple of days is where you've seen the stock moving up quite swiftly with good volumes as well. Erstwhile, the stock has very low kind of a trading volume setup, so would not encourage to trade very heavily into these kind of names. Specifically for your query, I think at closer to 790, 795 is where you should look to book out profits, because then the RSIs are getting into an overbought kind of a territory. So either you trail your stop losses or look out to exit closer to that 790, 795 territory.
Okay, this one is for you, Rajesh, and this one is coming in from Mayank. And Mayank is asking about IOC. He's already purchased some shares at a price of 120 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should look to be in this one for the next 10 years. Does it make sense?
10 years means 40 quarters, and that's a long gestation period. I don't think anybody would rightly answer this question, because taking a call for that 40 quarters performance is quite difficult. But yes, at this point of time, it's good stock based on valuation, based on the kind of dividend yield, and not to forget the higher GRMs which we are expecting for the entire sector because of high growth price. At this point of time, I would say continue with your holdings, keep a review every quarter, and then take a call.
Okay. We've got a question coming from Gautam Khandelwal, who's writing in from Bareilly, and he's asking about Bharti Airtel. Kunal, this one's for you. He's got a 700 call with a June expiry, I believe, and he's asking what the outlook on the stock is.
Well, I would suggest maybe an exit or an avoid. The stock has this tendency of getting into a bounce kind of a mode, but closer to I think 685, 690 is where I believe could be a good level where you can look to exit. The stock has this uncanny tendency of getting into a range when the market gets into high periods of volatility, and even when you've seen the markets actually rising up higher or getting into a rally mode, the stock consolidates quite a lot. So not an ideal stock enough to try and look out for more of a strategy on the call side. And more importantly, when you're trying to time these kind of stocks which are low beta in nature, it's very important to look out for at the money kind of a strikes rather than deep out of the money.
Okay, this next query is coming from Srinivas, and he's directed this message to Kunal, so I will read it as is. He's writing to you, Kunal, saying, "Hi Kunal, bought 2,000 shares of sale at 97 rupees average price. I don't mind holding for a year, but is it worth holding for a year, or should he sell or hold?" What's your take on this one, Kunal? From Srinivas is the query.
See, I think it's a tough one because, right now the metal stocks and the news flow across all of these metal names is extremely negative. So, of course, which is why the prices for SAIL, Tata Steel and such other, metal stocks have been down and out over the last, 3-4 months. But then when I look at the prospects for SAIL, the recovery the stock had shown from those 2020 lows, the highs the stock had made at around 140, 150 mark, I believe that eventually a comeback or a rally should shape up for these kind of stocks. So your buy price is also not that far away from your from the current market price of the stock. I would suggest to wait out, let the news flow start becoming positive. That's where I believe that a real reversal could be in play for metal stocks. That may be 3, 4, 5 months away from current levels, but I think it's worth holding into such kind of names.
All right, gentlemen, do stay with us, Rajesh as well as Kunal. We have to slip into a very quick break, but viewers on the other side will continue to take your queries. And quite a few of you have, in fact, posted, so do stay tuned.
Regularly verify, consolidate.
With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong. We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you asked, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
But if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge.
See, Nikunj, you're a very seasoned market observer, and therefore you may hit the nail on the head.
I think you have always kept the focus on the retail investor, and I think it's again a very apt, very good question.
Nikunj, first of all, thank you so much. You are one person I've always enjoyed interacting throughout last 15-20 years.
You know, the problem on coming on your channel is that you already know everything. I just heard your introduction. And what can anybody add to that?
Stock markets is a numbers game, and it sometimes does come across as one-dimensional. But what people don't see is that these numbers, when strung together, tell a story. There's no really black or white. It very much seems to be a work in progress of triumphs and mistakes, greed and fear. And I bring you that story behind the numbers in action.
The personal finance show that helps you achieve all your financial dreams.
This show gets you everything that you need to know about your money, how to earn more, invest smartly, and spend while getting the best bang for your buck.
From the perfect home to early retirement and everything in between.
Real estate, everyone knows, is an asset that Indians absolutely love, maybe even more than gold.
Join us every weekday at 5 p.m. on the ET Money Show. Investment made easy. Only on ET Now.
With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong. We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now, and we're in the midst of the query segment. A lot of you have already sent in your queries, but just a quick reminder, if you are tuning in for the first time, you can send your query to us on any one of our social media platforms or indeed on the WhatsApp number that's flashing on your screen. The next question I'm taking is from Kumaran, and he's writing from Cochin. And I think Kumaran has missed the first part of our show because we spoke about defense companies, and the question is on Bharat Dynamics. He says that he's invested in it. I do not know at what price. But should he hold on is the question, Rajesh.
Yes, of course, as we discussed in the earlier part of the show, new orders worth 210,000 crores are likely to be placed in the next 5 years, and the entire sector is going to be benefited. BDL already has an order book of 10,000 plus crore with products like air missile and tank guided missile and torpedoes. I think this company is going to do well. The only thing is it's run up quite a lot in the recent past and might show some correction or a consolidation for a longer period of time. But anybody holding the stock can continue.
All right. Also, Vivek also had a similar question in the defense space, and it was on BL. But I believe, Rajesh, you said the BL is a good stock to hold on to, and so did you, right, Kunal? Just yes or no?
Yes.
And Rajesh? Yes, of course, it's a
All right. So there you go, Vivek. Your query has also been answered by both of our experts. Let me take this one. It's from Naresh, and he has Shree Cement, 5 shares purchased at 21,000 rupees per share. He wants to know whether it makes sense to stay put with it for the long term or should he look to exit. What's your take on this one? Rajesh, we did speak about cement space, but specifically on Shree Cement.
Yes, one can continue to hold. The company has been acquiring smaller companies, adding capacities and doing very well. One can continue to hold. The recent numbers were bad, but long term is good.
Okay, Coal India is the name of the counter. This one's for you, Kunal. It's trading at 198. And we've got Sunil, who's got a call, a 200 call for Coal India, which he's bought at 595. What is the advice here?
See, I think it's a good strategy, first of all, that you've bought at the money call option, because typically, for such low beta names, as just highlighted some time back, that traders, they generally make a mistake of buying deep out of the money call option, which becomes redundant. The stock remains sideways for few trading sessions on trot. For Coal India, I believe that the prospects are quite strong. The PSU basket looking very attractive. Coal India also trying to retest this mark of 200, 205. Eventually, I believe, possibly over the next couple of days, if the market structure is not damaged, then we believe Coal India can get into a recovery mode, and you can stand to gain quite significantly over here. So I would suggest a hold.
All right, this one is coming from Jay Krishnan on Amber Enterprises. 2,732 rupees per share is the buy price. Kunal, this one is for you. Wants to know whether you should sell or average for the medium term. And if average is the call that you're giving in, then at what levels should Jay Krishnan look to average it?
See, I think you can look to hold on, at least as of now. The recent correction for Amber Enterprise was very sharp. But when I look at it on the weekly, monthly time frame, the stock seems to have a good moving average support at the 2,200 mark. Of course, it's 10% higher from those levels, but I think because of the recent spate of correction, there could be a scope that the stock can correct further from current levels, possibly over the next 1 to 3 months. So 2,200 could be a good level. If the stock reaches those levels, could be a good point where you can to average.
Okay, this is a question coming in from Sandeep Kumar from Tirupur. Generally, we like to encourage our viewers to ask questions on one stock, but this one I will make an exception on. Rajesh, I'm reading a list of stocks. If any stock does not need to be in a portfolio, please mention. He's holding Tata Steel, Larsen & Toubro, Axis Bank, Infosys and Bharti Airtel. He's going to add and hold these for the next 5 to 6 years, and he's asking whether he can add 2 to 3 mid-cap stocks, and if so, which would they be?
All of them are very good stock for a long-term portfolio. Yes, one can continue holding to them. Even adopt a system of SIP, adding some stocks every month to all the names. As far as mid-caps are concerned, I would suggest at this point of time going with BSC or an IRCTC, even LG Balakrishnan. These are 2-3 names which can be added to the mid-cap category.
All right, this one that I have is from Manjunath S. Bajaj Finance is a stock that Manjunath is holding, about 10 shares at an average price of 6,960 rupees per share. The stocks were purchased in January. Wants to know what's the prospect for Bajaj Finance from here on. Manjunath is a long-term investor. What's your take on this one, Rajesh? Bajaj Finance, a stock that you still should stay put with for the longer term, nothing to be worried about?
So I don't think one should be worried about short-term movements in these kind of stocks, because these are long-term stories and it's a good franchisee, good retail network. The numbers have been good and prospects look very good. Although to our clients, we have recommended Bajaj Finserv. That's a holding company of Bajaj Finance and other allied subsidiaries like insurance and all. But still, Bajaj Finance is also good.
I'm coming back to you, Rajesh. This one's from Tina, and she's asking about a few sectors, right? She's holding in telecom, she's holding in banking, she's holding in auto. Reliance Industries, she's listed separately. I guess you can talk about various sectors that Reliance is present in. And she's holding consumer stocks in the form of some Tata Group companies and Bata as well. She's asking if she's missing any major sectors.
See, I would always suggest that rather than going for a sector, be stock specific. There are some stocks in a sector that are doing well, that some of them are not doing well. But I believe that you have with the market leaders of the sector. Reliance, one can add even after this kind of run-up, because we are very positive, and GRM is going to be good in the quarter coming by. And apart from that, Geo and retail both are doing very well. So we believe that Reliance is going to give outperforming returns in the next 2-3 years or so.
All right, this one is from Mubarak S and wants on a view on Sigachi Industries. For the long term, no doubt we've asked this query earlier on also, Mubarak, but just for in case you've missed it earlier on, let me go to you, Rajesh. Sigachi Industries, do you track this one? Do you have a view over the longer term?
See, for long term, I don't think Sigachi would be a good bet, because it's already run quite a lot. It's in a mid-cap category, and taking a call in these kind of numbers in the short term is very difficult. So it's better to be in larger names, like just I suggested, IRCTC, BSE or NG Balkrishnan in mid-cap category.
Okay. This next one's for you, Kunal, and this question is coming in from Yatindran. He's asking about Hindalco, and he's asking whether he can buy a 420 call option in June expiry.
Well, I would suggest to avoid, because the stock is into a severe downtrend for itself. Metal stocks are in the negative news flow. So I think in that aspect, it may be a bit too tricky to try and buy the call, anticipating that the stock would get into a recovery mode. The indicators were oversold almost a month back for Hindalco, but now it's nowhere closer to oversold in terms of indicators. So expecting a bounce could be a bit tricky. At least in terms of the data point, it doesn't suggest that the stock would go through any immediate relief rally over the very near term. I would suggest an avoid.
Okay, this one is coming from Tripta Aluwalia, and this one is on Take Solutions. I believe she's holding about 53 shares of Take Solutions, but is in 55% loss. What should she do with this one, Kunal? I don't have the buy price with me, but Take Solutions is a counter.
So I think assuming 55% is the loss, for the investor, then my sense is that the stock price or the buy price could be closer to 55, 56 rupees for the stock, and it's almost at 24.5 rupees at current levels. A multi-year low for the stock. I think if I'm not wrong, it's almost like a 7-year low for Take Solutions at current levels. So of course, when you look at the charts and such kind of stock price trends, we expect that the stocks remain into a downward trend for a long duration of time. You should avoid such kind of names. I would definitely suggest an exit.
Okay. This next question is from Avijit, and this question is for you, Rajesh. He's looking at JSW Energy. He's asking about the prospects. He's already bought 160 shares at levels of 305, and he says that he's incurred a loss in this one. Should he hold on to this? What are the fundamentals looking like?
See, fundamentals are not that good. And to add to that, the woes of coal prices going up, things are looking pretty bad. Wait for any spikes or market up move to get out of this stock. If you want to win power, Tata Power or a CESA would be better bet.
This one is coming from KR Balan. This one is for you, Kunal. Manappuram Finance is a counter that he wants to ask about. He's saying that this counter has fallen a lot. So is it good to buy or wait, or instead look at something else altogether for the short term?
I would suggest to completely avoid Manappuram Finance. Now, I understand that the stock is corrected very sharply, but then it's corrected for a reason as well. You look at the patterns for the stock, the bounces have been very shallow, the corrections have been very sharp and very pointed for such kind of stocks. So I would completely suggest an avoid at current levels. In case if you're looking to buy from the gold finance space, then I think Muthoot Finance could actually be a slightly better bet, even though the charts for Muthoot Finance are still on a downward side, but at least it's not as volatile as a stock like Manappuram Finance.
Okay. Gentlemen, it's time to start the rapid fire segment, and you know what that means. We're going to throw as many questions as possible at you in the next 2 minutes. The first one's for you, Kunal. Shankar is asking about HCL Tech, 1020 call. He's asking whether he can hold for this month expiry or should he exit?
I would suggest to hold.
Okay, Vishal is asking about Lumax Auto. Is it good time to enter at this counter? He's looking for a 1 to 2 year horizon. What's your take on this one, Rajesh?
It's a avoid. You can look at Balaji Balakrishnan or Apar Industries. That's a better choice.
Okay, Rahul Kaji wants to know whether ITC can be bought at the current price. Rajesh?
It's a buy. Even after the kind of run-up, it's a good buy, good dividend yield, good prospects.
Okay, Weber wants to know Asian Paints, is it the time to average or sell? What's your take, Kunal?
I would suggest to avoid not to average and neither to sell, because the stock may remain in a range into this 300-point range, 2,700 to 3,000 for a prolonged period of time.
Kunal, Vedanta 330 call option. This is from Karthik. Would you hold on to this position?
I would suggest an avoid or an exit.
Okay, Dheeraj wants to know that will Wipro be a multi-bagger? He already has about 800 shares purchased at 598 rupees per share, Kunal.
I think Rajesh would be a better person to reply.
Rajesh, you have a take on this one. Wipro, do you see it going from strength to strength going ahead?
Which stock did you say?
Wipro.
Wipro, yes, of course, it's a good buy. The entire tech space and the larger names are going to be good buy after these kind of correction. They're going to do well for the next 2-3 years.
HBL Power. Kunal, do you possibly have a view on this? We've got Rajeshwari, who's writing in from Chennai. She's bought at levels of 95, looking for the near-term target.
I think it's an exceptional chart, has done extremely well. The last 1 month, we've seen some very good volumes for HBL Power as well. I would suggest to hold on, possibly a target of 125 over the medium term.
Okay, Rancho Gupta wants to know about SBI put 460. Can he look to buy? What's your take on this one, Kunal?
Well, you can look to buy 460 put, but then keep a stop loss of 472 on the spot levels for stock.
Okay, well, that's unfortunately all the time we have on this particular query round. But gentlemen, thank you so much for taking in. You've been absolutely fantastic today, Rajesh, as well as Kunal. Viewers, well, whoever's got their questions answered, well, I hope that this helped you out. And in case you've been missed today, we'll be back tomorrow to take all of your questions, so don't lose heart. We've got more on the other side of this very short break, so do stay tuned.
Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj.